And that reflects the toilets and, but that's about it, isn't it? Or is there anything
Well,
else?
there's the winch for the.
Winch, yeah,
That's down there.
which is a cave. Yeah.
The power bill down is not much.
Right.
You can sit up here.
Yeah, sit up here, Don.
We got all crew coming, so.
You do?
Well.
Because I see a couple of them on Zoom.
Just come sit up here.
I mean, if they come, then we'll figure it out.
Hey, everybody, just letting you know, the Peregrine team is here on Zoom.
Yeah, I can see you. Hi, David. Happy New Year.
Can you guys hear me okay? Because I can barely hear you.
Just hit volume down and turn him down. So I'm gonna be able to change what
He is down. Can you hear me now, David?
I can, yes. Want to just go down there? You know what? We're gonna come down and join you guys in person. I think that would be better, and we're not on your agenda till the 4th item anyway. What's that?
Yeah, Carly, not leaving her. That's the
Oh.
thing, but I get that's fine, I guess.
There's some extra agendas for me. So, because if we get started, we have to review our meeting notes from November and from December 13th. So then,
You want to stay in the meeting here and I'll go down?
but I did.
We really have a meeting because you never quorum, so.
No.
The working group.
Next conversation.
Hey, Sue, just to let you know that we're gonna come join you in person just because we think we're too limited here.
Okay,
See you in a bit.
okay. Can you hear me? Oh, not now. Yeah, all right. There he goes.
She kind of ran over it. He was there. Huh? He was there.
Thank you. On November 22nd, Finance Con has not been able to vote yard this week. Will that change? Changes there.
That's good.
Okay. Motion to approve.
So move.
Second. Okay. Thank you for that. Okay. Moving on, harbor master updates, anything?
I got nothing.
So I put under, the harbor master, the launching fees and things that are kind of ongoing throughout the winter. When do you think we should have those figured out by?
I'm pretty sure they're all figured out.
The launching fees? The boat launch?
Oh, launching fees. I thought tie up and all that stuff. I was, all right, I got ahead of myself.
Well, we were wondering too about, reviewing our mooring and docking fees. Oh, we still can. Not the mooring permit, but the overnight. Didn't you say it like it was?
I thought that was already done too.
It was already done.
You were thinking.
Concerned that it might be a little high.
That's, so
Um,
is that just from what other people have?
no, I haven't had anybody crap about it yet. I haven't had anybody run any, but I guess maybe we should just see what happens and if
Okay.
people complain.
Okay, sounds good.
I did have some, I called Bucksport and Belfast, we got some launching fees.
Okay.
Bucksport doesn't have any launching available. But
They don't
Bel-
have a lunch
No,
ramp?
no launch ramps at all. But Belfast, these sound cheap to me. They charge, a once a year season for the boat launch people, $175. $175 allow them to, sorry. That allowed them up to 50 launches for $175.
Who keeps track of it?
Kathy, the harbor master, she said she had a pretty good handle on it.
She's a
She's
full-time,
master.
that's a full-time position over there. so-
Yeah,
And she's got 2 or 3 dock assistants there all the time.
and, it was $325, a yearly stipend for 100 launches. And $675 per year for unlimited launches.
You said,
So-
you think that's cheap?
I thought that was dirt cheap.
For unlimited launches?
Yeah, for 100 launches,
So,
$325, that seems $32 a shot.
who's paying that? The haulers?
Yeah, right, yeah, the commercial boat haulers.
Not the diggers.
No, not the diggers, the commercial
Mhm.
boat
Oh,
haulers,
I see.
like
That's reasonable.
CWC, yeah, I get them reasonable. I thought,
But you said Bristol is $20?
I talked with Mike at Bittersweet Boatyard in Bristol. And he thought a reasonable fee would be $20. He said, if you can monitor that, and control that, if not, $150 for the season. And so,
That's cheap.
well, I think if you look at a hauler, the hauler's gonna say that's nothing. I probably won't have any problem paying it. But if you start really making it noticeable, I think there might be a problem. I did not call CWC because I didn't want a hauler at this stage of the game to know what we were doing in case they were against it and wanted to start lobbying with anybody here,
right,
just somebody in town to
right.
complain about it, not knowing what it would be. So $20 is what Mike says, and you're up to 30.
Yeah, it was 50 launches is 17.5 bucks. 100 launches is $32.
I don't know how many launches we have a year. I don't have any idea.
I don't think.
I'd say there would be an excess of, from lobster boat size on up in excess of 100.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Season?
at least 50, at least 50.
No, I think
Per season?
per season, yeah. Because you go in, you come out. So that's 2.
Oh, sure,
That's
okay,
right.
Per vessel.
okay.
Now, I asked Callie before you were here, if the cameras could detect the hauler's number plate and the computer set up so that every time that number plate made a launch, it would record it so that we would have a reading
Talking
every
license
time
plate
that
reader,
got on.
I don't think those cameras have that technology. It can pick up a license
Okay.
plate, but I don't think it's gonna read it. It's gonna just take the picture.
Failing that, the other recommendation would be to charge $150 seasonally. Now, I would call one season June, July, and then September, October, the other season. And we could charge the haulers seasonal instead of every launch. Because that way you don't have to monitor it, or you don't have to keep looking at the camera, which you got better things to do than look at that.
That's what Belfast does, season 1.
So,
I think we discussed one point, when this all started a few years ago, we get town of Yarmouth. And that's where I told you that they had the camera that reads the license plates and does the billing automatically for them. It's an expensive system. But I just Googled their fees, their seasonal launch for residents and non-residents is a flat $200. Seasonal launch for canoes and kayaks is $100. Daily daytime parking permit with no launches is $100. So, I mean, they've got an à la carte menu here that,
So is that like per person?
per boat,
I-
per vessel.
Right, but is it getting charged to like a launcher person or an individual?
Oh, this is all non-commercial. So this would be residents and non-residents. Yeah, commercial haulers get $600 seasonal registration for each hauling vehicle. With no ramp fee, and the daily ramp use without a season pass is $100. So if they don't buy if they don't buy the season pass for 600, which is unlimited, then they come in and use it once or twice, it's $100 a pop. So I mean, you can Google it. All these towns are pretty much online if you just Google them and take a look at the harbor master fees, and you can see that they go like this. I mean, they're all over the board. They really are. And once again, I think, I can't express this enough. It goes back to the amenities that you have to offer that enhance the fee. The more you have to offer, the higher, the more you can charge.
In our case, we don't want to discourage haulers. I don't think.
No, I don't want to discourage them, but they need to pay for
Yeah, and,
using our facility. I mean,
right,
They beat it up.
and that's what we gotta decide is what we want to charge, I guess.
And the Belfast fees were residents only. They didn't have any fees for non-residents. They basically said,
But I don't think we want to discourage people from using the waterfront.
No,
Like Dennis said, if they're gonna use it, but I don't know that we should be looking to charge people $100 a year to go down and drop their kayak.
no, I don't think.
Well, that would be 20.
Worm diggers, clam diggers, kayaks.
I think anybody doing a business like that, commercial people, they should be paying the fee,
Yeah, I don't think townspeople should be paying.
be part of their taxes.
Yeah,
Well, then you have people that are paying taxes that don't use the waterfront.
You know, people use the waterfront that don't pay taxes.
Well, that's why I think non-residents
Yeah.
should be charged for using it.
how are we gonna determine that though?
So that's a problem, and it is a problem. It's easy for Rockport because they have Belfast, because they have a full-time harbor master, as does Rockland, a bunch of assistants. We just can't afford that right now. And the way this year's budget's looking, we'd be lucky if we can even afford to have a part-time harbor master. I'm kidding, but,
Yes.
it's rough. And that was part of the reason that we put the cameras down there, is so that we could get an idea of what the actual use of the waterfront really is. How many people are using the launch ramps? From what I've seen of the camera system, it's kind of hard to pick license plate numbers out of that.
They're blurry when you zoom in.
They're pretty
What
blurry,
about,
so.
what about getting one of those, like in the spring, what if we get one of those counters from the state counters, like the rubber thing that goes across the thing every time every time they launch one, it counts it?
I mean,
And
that's,
then you leave it down there in the spring, whatever, and just see how much, what you get used.
Or is there a way to pick a camera so that they're not blurry getting license plates?
We could start low this year, see how it works, and then always increase it in another year.
Well, I'm thinking to get this thing moving and to pick a point that clearly we want to get the commercial haulers that are, it's not their dime anyway. So start there and pick whatever fee you want, and if you pick mid to low range, and then we can see, now that the cameras are up, we can pay attention and see what's going on and then revisit it.
Yeah. Now, I know, I did talk to one of the haulers up from Gardner Road, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned it, before, he wanted to pay an annual fee. He wanted to pay a fee, so if somebody from Booth Bay Harbor wanted to drop their boat on the float for 2 days until he could get down to get it. And I told him no, but I told him I'd mention it to you guys. But he wants to come up with an annual fee that he can just pay the town, so he doesn't have to bill his customers, an extra, well, now it's $3 a foot, right? For the boat to be there. But I didn't want to do that, because if somebody from Booth Bay Harbor comes up, drops their boat on Thursday, he don't come pick it up till Monday. It's in the way all weekend, which has been the issue. They drop it on Friday and he tries to get down there and get it by Monday, because they don't want to do it on the weekend. They don't want to mess up their weekend.
that's right.
I'd be more agreeable to that if it could be put on a warrant. Then have to go get it.
Yeah, but then he's gotta go out and get it.
That's not our issue.
It sounds nice, and as a hauler, I could understand why you might ask that. But we're not, I don't think the town is here to accommodate haulers and the inconsistencies that can develop in their schedules. And with the limited space that we have now, which is a revenue center, I can't see how anybody would agree to block that on a weekend in particular. And if it rains or storms on Monday and Tuesday, then all of a sudden the guy's there 5 or 6 days and,
For 2 months.
or 2 months.
And we're losing
Yeah.
revenue because we don't have the space.
Yeah, I mean, it's like any other rule or regulation that you put into effect, especially when there's money involved. If you don't enforce it, you're not gonna make any money. They're gonna abuse it, and they're gonna take advantage of it. If you have something in place, the rule is down, there it is. Pay per day, very simple. I mean, that's what all these other towns are doing. That's what I've been trying to say this for a few years now. And that's why if you keep looking at these websites, you'll see how stringent they are about this. It's a revenue source for them, and they don't mess around. And it's worked so well for them that they can actually add more personnel. The more personnel that they add to it and the services that they do, the revenue goes up. I think we proved that here. So,
I would like to go with 150 a season. See how it goes this year. We can always increase it another year.
Is that something we want to implement for this season,
Yes.
even
For the-
considering the state of the launch ramps?
For the commercial haulers,
Yeah,
150?
yeah.
good deal.
I think
100,
it is a
well,
good
it'd be
deal.
300.
Especially if they're pulling 100 boats.
Well, and you're talking a season, which
Well,
there's gonna be
let's-
2
let's-
seasons.
Let's call it 2 seasons. I'm looking at June, July is one season and September, October is the other season. 100 or 300 a year.
How's that sound?
It sounds cheap to me, but
Does it sound like a starting point?
Yeah.
Because we don't know what
And
condition
300.
everything's gonna be in anyway for this year.
how many commercial haulers do we have? Do we even know that?
I don't know.
CWC, next from over here on Route 1 Newcastle, Mike, who else we have here? I think that's all of them that we have right here. There's a couple.
Flowworks launches boats.
Yeah, there's a couple independent, small ones that do it, but basically those three.
Why do they want this landing? Because it's convenient? Is that more often why they want it?
It's one of the only ones available, so they take advantage of it. It's very convenient for them. And as far as, counting as to how many there are a lot of others up and down the coast that'll pick a boat up somewhere and bring it here and drop it off because the people happen to be in this area or in Booth Bay. So it wouldn't be uncommon for somebody from Camden, there's a hauler up there, 2 haulers up there, 2 or 3 good ones. And they run the whole East Coast, basically. They could drop a boat in here anytime. There's good boats out of, carriers out of Portland and whatever. So that's the type of thing that's gotta be well signed. So that if there is a transit that comes in like that they would know that they would have to call before they launch anybody. So you can and collect a fee also. So you kind of cover yourself both ways that way.
Also, when I was talking to Kathy at Belfast, she said there's a program available for mainland fisheries and wildlife boat launch division about, they will provide us with free concrete planks for our launching ramps. The only stickler is we have to pick them up and we have to install it. But we have equipment to pick it up.
Pick them up.
It's the same thing we looked at last year, but it expired, right? The concrete things. Remember?
Something is open now. I
She
don't
says-
know if it's the same thing or
She
not.
said it's open again right now, the Kathy did. So it's open to get free concrete planks to upgrade the state wants to make them available. So they're using the concrete planks to launch on instead of gravel or. That's
So do you have a contact person?
Yeah. You want the number?
Yeah.
Kathy, she's the Belfast harbor master.
Oh, well, I got it.
Yeah,
She's
okay,
from Belfast.
338-1142.
I thought she was from the state or something. 'Cause
No, she just referred me to these guys.
So can we,
She didn't have that number right available, but she said, call her if you have any questions on her, and she can fill you right in.
so can we get back to what we're doing about the fees? That we're, I mean, great that we can get the lunch grant fixed. So how will we proceed with the fees? We send
Select
out a
board's gotta
letter,
approve
do
it,
we
right?
just?
Well, you
send
gotta
it
get them
to the
approved by the
selectmen?
select board.
Yeah.
It's ultimately the select board that has the authority to approve fees, so we'll
Okay,
have to send a recommendation to them and we'll have to put it on.
so 150 per year, that's kind of targeted at haulers. What about the individual that comes down with his Boston whaler
No, 150 per season.
per season? Yeah.
No, I don't think small boats, worm diggers, clam diggers, and resident small boats should be charging anything. Those guys work hard for a living, and
What about small recreational boats? Like my boat?
how often do you do it? It doesn't really impact the launching facility much as the commercial haulers, though I think would do more
But there
damage, and those are the ones we're after for the fee.
And I agree with you, that there are people that will put their boat in and then go to Rockland and then have their wife pick them up in Rockland. So I don't know.
Well, can we revisit, usage and deciding who uses and who doesn't use after we've had a season and we can see what's happening on the cameras and we can see what boats are being launched and what type of boat and the type of people. And then decide from there what you want to do about other fees.
Okay, so we'll be able to review after we have the cameras working all summer.
Yes,
And so
yes,
late
and
in
just,
the
and get
fall.
a better idea of that full season usage.
So for now, we'll recommend the $150 or $300 per year in and out. I'll just go with that.
Well, the reason I think we should charge commercial haulers, but I think we should charge everybody who uses our waterfront. If they want to launch, make it a minuscule fee for like any worm digger, clam digger, or anybody should be able to pay, say, $50 per year launching fee. I would think they should be able to make that in a day, you know? I mean, if we don't charge everybody across the board, we're gonna start having problems. We've gotta charge everybody.
Well, I myself, I don't know what everyone else thinks, but I myself kind of think the working commercial fishermen maybe deserve a break.
And $50 is.
You know, I mean, I could see recreational.
I think $50 is a break. If we charge somebody, we gotta charge everybody. We can't pick and choose who we're gonna charge.
Well, I think,
Cannot do
I
it.
mean, can't that fee be included in their
Worm box renting.
registrations
Yeah.
and stuff that they have to do? They're more, I mean, they're buying a mooring, but then they gotta pay extra to put their boat on
If they're buying a mooring, but all the clam diggers and worm diggers don't buy moorings, they just
No,
launch off their
they're-
trailers.
it? I'd like to see all them go up to the main Yankee anyway.
I just like to charge everybody.
Well, if you charge them to launch here and don't charge them to launch up there, that's where they're gonna go.
My point
That'll
is,
get, that would clean up the parking lot a lot.
my point exactly. Is
Okay.
saying that without saying it.
So we can recommend that. So we'll put that in recommendation and so forth.
You know, I'm kind of I'm not saying a fan of, but I think user fees have to be part of anything that along these lines that you're doing.
Absolutely,
People have to pay to use the community center.
absolutely,
You guys pay to use the commercial pier.
right. I mean,
I just don't think the taxpayer should be footing the bill for all of this. I think some of it should be coming from people that are actually using the facilities.
Okay, well, and that's a fair compromise too, to have the others go up. At least we have that option.
Right.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. So you think $50 a year?
I'd be happy with
Is
that.
that a year?
Year.
That includes in and out, just a.
Year, per year.
So that's $25.
That way-
$25 an
we are charging the working man something,
Mhm.
but it's not cutting his profit every day, you know?
Yeah.
It'd be different, if we charge $50 a day to launch, you know, that's different.
Mhm.
For $50 a year, that's less than a buck a
I mean, the
day.
town is
You know?
providing them a place to do their business.
That's right, that's less than a buck a day. They and anybody in business can afford it, any working man should be able to afford that. That's just one person's opinion, and there's 5 of us here, so we gotta have a
Okay.
consensus.
What about the person that puts their boat in maybe 3 or 4 times a year? If I get a Boston whaler and I have only a couple of weekends in the summer that I can do that.
I understand,
$50?
I understand, I,
$50 per
no,
launch?
no.
For the
Do you either pay it or go to Woolworth?
50 for the year, 50 for the year.
Or Bridge, I don't know, is there a place to launch next to? I don't know.
Maybe you come up with a fee for a resident, like when you register your boat in Wisconsin, you can pay like a permit fee to use the ramp.
Launching permit?
But then that's more work for me, because I gotta figure out who's resident, who isn't.
Well,
And the more you get into this, the more complicated it's gonna be to police it, because we just don't have the
That's
resources
right.
to do it. So, yeah,
But if we wanna
$50
pay
for
this
everybody,
waterfront,
that's pretty easy to.
we gotta charge some people, we gotta charge everybody, we've gotta be fair to everybody.
And we'll just, the way we'll monitor it this year, we'll monitor it and just do the best we can.
Well, that's pretty much all we're
I
doing.
think-
Pretty much all we're doing now.
Yeah, I mean, I think this could be a good, year. I would like to look in to see if we can get a counter thing, just to see how much. I mean, I know that ramp can shoot a lot. I mean, you go
Oh,
down there
absolutely.
Sunday, you can't even move in the parking lot. There's so many
Absolutely.
boat trailers down there.
And like you say, if we could funnel those guys down to the other end,
Yep.
use those 2 ramps down there at the fair landing.
Well,
One
the
of
other
them
thing
you
too,
use.
and Dennis, we talked about it, you've got those charter fishermen that go down there. They meet people down there every morning and go out and make money.
That's what I'm saying, why shouldn't they pay? Everybody uses it, just like Dennis said, user fees. We use it, we pay. I'm a member of the rec center, I pay every year. It's a user fee.
So the user fee is $50 for everybody, except commercial haulers will get billed. So what's a charter person?
Who?
Someone doing a charter,
I don't know, it's up to Havernack.
is that, see what I'm?
$600 a year. No, I don't know. Fees aren't up to me. I hate to see Wisconsin residents pay more fees, but like Dennis said, they gotta pay. But I mean, taxes are high enough in town.
Right.
You know, now I gotta go down and pay to put my kayak in,
Right.
you know? I don't know.
Something like it.
I have no control over the fees. You guys figure out the fees and I'll enforce them.
Right,
But you know, there's fee for transfer station.
Absolutely.
To get rid of stuff.
I mean, that's it.
I don't think it's unreasonable to ask people who are using the facilities to help pay for them.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they need to pay a lot, you know, $50 is pretty reasonable, I think.
I don't think $50 is unreasonable for, like, if I wanna put my boat in, whatever, and I pay $50 a year to do that, I don't think that's unreasonable.
Resident, you know, I mean, that's,
But for a resident, but I do think the people coming in that's making $400 or $500 a day, taking people out fishing,
Yeah.
need to pay more than $50 a year.
I agree with that.
yeah, I
too.
agree.
I agree.
So should
I
they
don't
be
know
in the
what
same class as, say, the commercial haulers for now? They're a business.
I mean, that'd be a good place.
I agree with
to start.
Dennis, I think
It's a
the
place-
commercial haul is for $300 a year is cheap.
I do
I mean, they get that off one haul. How many days do you go to?
Depends on how, the distance they travel.
Are there many charter boats?
I think there's like 3 now. The guy in the Toyota pickup, the guy in the silver Toyota pickup, and then the guy who has bass something on the front, the one that had the jacket on his boat.
D. Craw, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Is
and I
Terry logged on?
wanna say there's 2, maybe 3.
And you get the Clammers, the airboat comes in 2 or 3 times a week. And he's from out of town.
The Claimer?
Yeah.
Okay, but he would qualify for launching at the other place, right?
Yeah,
Well, they all could too, even the charter
Very
people.
yeah.
The charter people could go up there.
I
There's
mean,
also
there's-
parking up there.
there's parking lot, there's much more parking at the Fair Lane than there is down here. Nobody uses that other
That's
parking
right, nobody's hardly using that at all.
at all, you know? That's where we need to start funneling people to. There's 2 launch ramps down there.
We'll
Okay,
start
so-
having issues up there though too.
Yeah, you will, because
There's
it's pretty
no
isolated.
cameras up there, we'll have,
What do we do with non-resident? The non-resident weren't biggest.
Double it.
do we have non-resident?
How are we gonna get it?
I don't think it's worth taking.
Determining,
No, I mean, the people with one car.
we can charge residents when they license, but non-residents, we wouldn't know. And we can't get them by camera.
We have a lot of non-residents coming down here digging worms, because I've dealt with them from, I mean, Baileyville, they've been down here from Baileyville.
They'll come from way down east to come here.
They say Wisconsin's got the best worms in the state,
All right.
probably because of Maine Yankee.
What is your treatment?
But I don't know how you keep track of that, I don't,
Well, it's gonna be hard, but you can't, I don't think it's right to tell residents who are also paying taxes to do this, that we're not gonna charge non-residents.
No, I understand that,
Just,
How do we
but I
get-
don't know how we determine,
well, it's gonna have to be more
It's
on
gonna
an
be
honest
an
water system now than
is that the signage you talk about?
well, signage, but it's gonna be an enforcement issue, I mean, I'll have to be more, you know, what's that word, vigilant?
Vigilant.
Vigilant, and I'll have to have the shellfish warden the same way.
Are you gonna require like a sticker for them to have to put on their vehicles so that we know they
Should
paid,
be, so they can launch.
paid the permit, that would help with the enforcement.
Right.
Like, if you're gonna come into Wisconsin and dig clams, you have to have a permit from the town, but you don't need a permit to dig worms. Anybody can go dig worms, is that true?
That's true.
That's true.
Is that a town thing or a state?
No,
It's a
statewide.
state.
But you could be a clam digger and not a Wisconsin resident, put your boat in here and then go dig down and move it. Right. But I don't know,
But if
that
you-
doesn't make much sense because they've got launch ramps down there.
Because
Well-
if you're gonna use our launching facility, then you should be paying for it. Okay, so we've got $50 per year for
Resident.
anybody
For every launcher,
here, and for every launch,
every launcher.
every launcher, not every launch.
No.
Okay.
So if I pay $50, I can put my boat in and my kayak.
Yeah.
Yep.
Every day, twice a day, 10 times a day.
And $300 for commercial haulers, which should include, I think, the charter boat people.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna charge it,
Can you
yeah,
I,
do
I think it should
that?
be at least.
I think that should be.
Any commercial.
Which one?
What do you think that's too much?
Which one do you think is too much?
I think
For the
we should go,
charter?
no, $500 on those commercial haulers. I don't, they're making the money, let's face it, they're making the money. And anybody who's got the big boat that needs it hauled in can probably pay the jam, you know, I just
These fees aren't set in
user
stone.
fees, you know, user fees. And our fees may get shut down by the selectmen, we don't know, but we can recommend, that's all we can do.
Well, before the selectman does that, do they have a, like,
They have
an
to hold a
open
public,
meeting?
you have to hold a public hearing on it.
Yeah,
Right, there's a public hearings.
Yeah. So, okay, so should we start with the $50 per launcher, $300 for commercial for the year, which is in and out, just for simplicity's sake, right? And then,
And then maybe a day use fee, like if a non-resident comes in and wants to launch his boat, he pays, he's only gonna be here once. He pays like $10 a day or something, to launch a boat.
That's in your jurisdiction, you can do
Wait, like,
it.
how do you put that?
and the day use,
Well, I would have to enforce that. I'll put a boot on the boat trailer.
How much time did you have today?
Well, I mean, again, it's gonna be kind of on the honor system, which is basically, I mean, it's easier to do it with boats that are tied up because you can physically see them, but, I mean, how many of these state parks do you have that charge a $5 admission fee?
Well,
Leave it in the bucket.
Well, the other thing, but Dennis, the other thing is,
Yeah.
but the other thing is we got that camera down there. If we do that the new float thing, come up with some sort of a signage thing and a drop box, the camera's pointed at it. That might, improve the honor system a little bit.
Especially if you put it on the sign that, you know, it's being monitored by video.
Yeah.
Okay, so $10 a day for,
I think a day use for a guy who wants to come down, but then again, yeah, I mean, I don't know, $10 too much?
I do five.
$10 is enough.
I don't know, Don, is $10 too much?
If I go to the, if I go down to
I
the
thought
Palm Beach in the
$20
summer, if I go down to Palm Beach in the summer, how much it cost me to get in?
$7?
I think it's $11 for a car, right?
I was gonna say 10
Yeah.
to
I
15.
think it's $11 for a vehicle.
In some places, they're charging for all the people in the vehicle, and not just the vehicle full of kids. You're talking about state park, right?
I think if somebody wants to come down and put their boat in and use the ramp that we just paid $30,000 to fix it, $10 is pretty cheap.
They use $10, we'll start there. And that is thinking of like kayaks or somebody who's here for the weekend or something
Okay,
like
once
that.
we implement this $50 a year launching fee, somebody's gonna have to be down there day after day after day, shelter coordinating.
Well, I don't know, I think like Dennis said, it's gonna be the honor system. If they want me to go down there and watch people picking up dog food, I don't have time to do it.
No,
I'm not gonna have time to watch people
no, that's
back in
what
the
I'm
boat.
saying. But no, that's what I'm saying, it's just.
But that's why the honor system is gonna have to do it.
Can, I think that when I talked to Bob about how those cameras work, there is some sort of recognition feature within that system. So in the interest of wanting to move along with our meeting, can we maybe, try to find out more information about that and talk some more about the launching fees before we finalize it? And just see what we actually have for in place for the season. Is that okay? I don't want to shut people down, but the select board's gonna start at 6. and
It looks like we're
it's about-
really well in agreement on 350
Yeah,
at this point.
yeah.
For residents, but we haven't said anything about non-residents. So long.
So can we kind of
You
sleep
wanna
on
table
it?
that till next time?
Can we table it? Everybody okay with that, Ron?
Season's coming up pretty quick.
It will be here before you know it.
I
Okay.
like your idea about a sticker on the windshield.
Larry, don't, Shellfish Warden, when he checks licenses, he's got a list of people and their addresses and whatnot.
Yeah, for shellfish, but there's no.
And that would take care of this down here.
What's that?
That would take care of pretty much this down here. And
Yeah, but
yeah,
there's just a handful of climbing licenses the town gives out.
that's climbing license, but, does he check on any of the wormers?
He does, but, they don't need a license to do it, so. They're free to.
Oh,
They just need a state license, they don't need a town license. So
yeah,
I don't think
We're
they
not-
need a state, I don't think they need a state license.
Okay, can we move on, just in interest, I want to, move on to the working group update?
Yes.
It's here.
Sure.
That would be great, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so we skipped up a few things, I guess. Thank you for accommodating us, and we just had another meeting at 4 o'clock this afternoon to sort of discuss where we're at. We've been collecting data the last couple of weeks. And I should mention right off the bat that Christopher, whose last name I can't remember now, Christopher Hart, has prepared a draft RFP. You have an email in your inbox to take a look at the RFP that he's prepared and make your edits, et cetera. I told him I would review it, and then it became clear I was not value added, so it's bypassed me. I haven't actually read the whole document yet, but others have and say it looks great. Christopher has some background in RFP creation and is right as an international trade law attorney and helped with some of the verbiage. So you might find that it's overkill, Dennis, and certainly feel free to take the hatchet to it in any way you see fit. The one question that came out of our last meeting was, should any repairs that might be needed at the Ferry Point launch ramp be included in the RFP? We actually took a look around at all the facilities, but we didn't check Ferry Point. We did check the back boat launches as a comparison. So we're a little bit up to speed, and but we don't know anything about Ferry Point. So I guess we can go down and take a look at that. But are there repairs needed down there?
Yeah. That ramp's in bad shape too. And that's the concrete thing.
It is cement down there.
Okay, so
What's the minimum?
I know Davies Allen has been sending out these emails to you guys about using asphalt to repair these. Asphalt is not acceptable material for Montrans. It has to be precast concrete, right from the DEP rules and regulations. So it's gonna cost us more than
It has to be precast, so it has to be those,
precast concrete.
so you just,
Those concrete planks.
There's concrete planks or something for precast
Yeah.
concrete.
Yeah, we've been assuming that all along, and I don't know if Christopher actually put that in his RFP, but that's certainly something we want to highlight if it's not in there. And so the other items that we were looking into, well, number one, I don't know if all of you had a chance to see Matt's pictures taken during the last storm, with the storm surge and all that. It was quite a mess down there. Have you guys seen this yet?
Oh, I've seen that.
If you haven't, Abby prepared a PowerPoint document that she can show you right now that shows the pictures and the video taken down there. So it's, but basically the parking lot was far away underwater. If you want to see that, she
Up to
can
you
put it
guys.
up, or it's just not necessary, whatever you want to do.
I can send the video around. Oh, it's not that I don't want to see it, I just was
Yeah.
a little pressed for
Okay,
time.
Yeah, no
In the
worries.
interest of time, we can forego that. Bottom line is, water in the parking lot, the seawall clearly was being reached, and, so it raises the specter of, having to raise the level of the parking lot as part of whatever proposed work there is. And, that certainly will be part of the engineering study, I presume. So.
The timing of that storm was,
Couldn't have been better.
couldn't have been any better.
Perfect.
For actually a
documentation.
couple of reasons, waterfront and for wastewater, so.
So we'll exploit that to the greatest degree. And then Abby was also engaged in getting information about the grants that are available to us. And that's a work in progress still. She has a list of grants and the criterion for each and the applicability, match, et cetera, due dates. The takeaway so far is that we pretty much missed all the due dates for grants, obviously for 2022, and some that are like this month.
And the SHIP and big grant from Maine Dot have a match requirement, which I heard would push us past our deadline because you need town approval, correct?
Yeah, the town would have to, according to Terry, sign a warrant or a vote would have to be taken for a warrant, and that would be in the June time, correct?
But budget has to be, that material all has to be done for us by the end of March,
Okay,
so that we can do balance and
got it.
follow the.
So the first phase of this is the engineering study. Eric Kozanu, if I'm pronouncing this right, has collected a list of five or six design build or design or build companies. And so he's got that collated, and we'll forward that to you guys as well, once he's got that well documented contacts, et cetera. We presume that would be an appropriate list of companies to send the RFP out to.
It gets tough when you start using grant money, because sometimes design build, it can't be the same. If you're, especially when you start getting some of these federal grants.
So the way I was thinking about it is, since you do have some carryover funds from last fiscal year to do the design part of it, which I think will be more economical, obviously. That effort gets split out as a separate effort that could be paid with existing funds, and then the match can be applied to the construction.
Yeah, we'd have to go back out to bid on that for different.
Right.
different one. I'm running into that with Old Ferry Road now and the Red Pierce and the federal grant and. It's not free money, I'll tell you.
Yeah, no question about it. So that's work in progress. We have yet to reach out to Mary Ellen Barnes. Terry has mentioned that she'd be a great resource for potential grant application opportunities we haven't discovered yet.
Well, and I know too, that office has lots of resources as far as maps and different reports that that've been done in the past that might be really helpful.
Lincoln County.
Yeah, Lincoln County.
Yeah, Emily.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one out there.
And we do contract with them for some of this kind of work, so.
Well, I would assume that before, like either you or their office would review anything important goes anywhere.
Well, it would be- everything would come through me anyway, so.
Okay.
So Olivia has been handling all the communications amongst the team, and we had a couple snafus with the mailing list, et cetera, but I think everything's ironed out now. She's also taking minutes from our meetings, so would you guys like to be copied on those minutes once they're available?
Sure.
That'd be great.
Yeah, just to look over.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
And so forwarding the RFP to you, at this point, we feel that if you want to put that out there, it's really up to you to craft the final version, or you can push it back to us for whatever work you want. And the process for going out for RFP, is there, on top of the list of potential candidates, is there something else that
Yeah, so we'll send anybody that you guys have identified as candidates, we'll send the RFP to. We also put it on our municipal association's website, as well as our own website here, posted in the town office.
okay,
And that usually is, I mean, we can put them in papers, but that starts getting expensive and stuff.
yeah,
But a lot of contractors know what we're gonna get. That's where a lot of it comes from. So.
and so is that public notice required by statute or something, or is it just a courtesy?
You're not required to go out to bid on anything. By statute, you're not required.
Okay. Good. All right, I think that's all we got for now, and I know you have a deadline, you'd like final information by the 10th, I think.
We were hopeful, but that might be a little up, and if we have absolutely have that things in order by March, that gives us.
Oh, by that
Or
deadline,
we're
I-
probably mid-February, just to give it time to get to the select board and
That would be nice, because then we've got a little bit of,
time to chew on.
give ourselves a little breathing room before we hit that deadline.
so it's the way I'm perceiving it is that once we hand over the RFP and the list of potential candidates, we would sort of be outside of the process at that point, correct, or am I misunderstanding?
We can come back here to the committee to review them and make a recommendation to the board.
To review the responses,
Mhm.
proposals, okay.
Mhm.
All right, so we would be copied then on the submissions.
Mhm.
Good. Okay. Yeah.
And I think after that storm, whenever it was, the 23rd, it's real important that the RFP, in my opinion, identifies that the sea level rise.
Yes.
That's going to be very important.
So none of those pictures are in the RFP. Would that be appropriate to have an image showing that submerged?
Or we can actually wait until we award the RFP and then get information.
Okay,
But yes, if somebody wanted to see, sure, no reason not to have it on.
so it seems to me that you're ultimately going to raise the level of the parking lot, that should be done coincidentally with both launch ramp improvements.
Well, there's money out there now for this climate adaptation stuff that's going on. So, we should take advantage of it while we have the opportunity. So I think she's right. I think we should incorporate that into that.
Well, that was one of the grants that, and but the timing, we missed the deadline for that.
Yeah, I think we missed the site visit, it had to happen in 2022, so a lot of the grants I found were through the state of Maine. But all of them happened in 2022 for 2023. The only ones that were available were really the big and ship for application at any point. But it's that match, so it's the June timeline.
In working with the state, I do grants for the PD with them.
Yeah.
It's worth reaching out to them
Okay.
and talking to them. Sometimes they're a little bit more flexible than they say they are, or they can give you a hint of what's coming up, and they're usually happy to help.
Okay.
They're not mean about it or anything. They're like,
Yeah,
let us help you and,
Yeah.
and we'll give you information.
And sometimes those deadlines can get extended if they don't get as many applications as they
Okay.
anticipate.
Right.
Those funds are available, they'll extend those deadlines.
okay, great, yeah. I'll do that.
I've noticed also since that storm, there's been an awful lot of social media as well as public media on the damage that was done up and down the coast. It isn't just here. Spring Point Lake was completely underwater, that rock, and I grew up on Willow Beach, and I'd never seen that go underwater before.
Wow.
So, so you've got action groups down there, I'm sure, that are gonna be trying to get funds going. That takes the legislature, wakes them up a little bit and says, hey, maybe we've got to do something on this. Do we extend the deadlines, or we come up with new federal funding or something like that? So I don't think the fact that the wall has been hit on a deadline, you should close this out at all, because I think as a result of that storm, we're gonna see more action than less.
Okay, awesome. Good to know.
All right, we gotta kick you guys out.
Okay, so, the climate adaptation, is that something we can, I don't know if that's something for Waterfront Committee to do anything with, or is that something we're pursuing?
Oh, we've got some of that conversation that's gotta be done about that, so.
Okay, so, talk about it another time.
Yeah.
Okay. So for our, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So for our committee, we do have to look for next Tuesday.
You're not.
Next Tuesday at 5.
Just keep my eye on. Water.
Yeah, this one's supposed to be moved down there, because it wasn't supposed to be put there, it was supposed to be down there. They put it in the wrong place. So I run this off because I know. What do you guys do? Is it the